There are only about 2,700 southern sea otters alive in the wild today, and they're all living in a relatively small area, between Half Moon Bay in the north and Point Conception in the south. So what if there was a catastrophe? Say, a major oil spill like the Exxon Valdez in Prince William Sound, Alaska. Thousands of northern sea otters, roughly the equivalent of the entire southern sea otter population alive today, were wiped out in a single blow. Managers were concerned. What if something like that happened here? It could have meant the end of the southern sea otter. In the late 1980s and early 90s, the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service implemented an otter relocation program with the hope of establishing a reserve population in case the mainland was hit by an oil spill. Scientists moved about 140 sea otters to San Nicolas Island off the coast of Southern California, like a genetic lifeboat, but for an entire subspecies. Tiny San Nicolas Island is located 61 miles off the coast of California and is the most remote Channel island. Less than 23 square miles big, the uninhabited island is part of the Pacific Missile Range, controlled by the U.S. Navy. But the waters around it are prime sea otter habitat, and biologists were confident the relocated animals would thrive here. There was tons of food. There's great habitat. Conservationists were hoping that the population would grow. But sea otters don't always act like you'd expect. Most of them hightailed it back to their original homes, some traveling hundreds of miles to get there. By 2005, there were only 30 sea otters left around San Nicolas. When Fish and Wildlife started the relocation project, they agreed to keep sea otters from moving into Southern Californian waters. San Nicolas was the only habitat in this area where the otters would be allowed to live. Any sea otters moving into or through this zone were supposed to be captured and relocated. Unfortunately, sea otters don't have a map, and they ignored the regulations and swam wherever they pleased. And ironically, while the rules are still on the books, the plan has basically been abandoned, since scientists have learned that sea otters don't really act how you'd expect them to, something the sea otters who were moved to San Nicolas showed everyone very well. Luckily, the sea otters that remain around San Nicolas Island are fat and happy and doing pretty well, but the population isn't growing, and no one's really sure why. As for the politics, they're still wrangling over the no Otter Zone. But I think we can all agree what we really want are healthy, thriving coastal ecosystems off of the California coast.